He died in a line, in an ordinary line at an ATM. Friday evening, rain. The man behind slipped and pushed. Choi Minjun hit his temple on the corner of the machine. Ridiculous, fast, meaningless. Darkness. Then the ceiling of his apartment. He lay and looked at the crack he had been going to fix 2 years ago. The fan was spinning. The phone on the nightstand, the screen was glowing. A notification from the news app. Scientists record anomalous cases of human transformation, the first registered incidents in Asia. He looked at the notification. The date on the phone was March 17th, 8 months before it would become normal. Minjun sat up, head clear, body his own, 26 years old, 178 centimeters, a bit thin. Software engineer, works remotely, lives alone. The cat ran away a year ago. He remembered everything. He remembered the first life completely. The apocalypse began in November. Quietly, without explosions, without war, just one day people began to transform into whatever they had touched last. Concrete, wood, metal, earth, plastic, glass. Some managed to become something alive. Animals, plants. Some did not. In the first life he transformed into asphalt. He stumbled, fell, palms on the road. Asphalt does not think. Asphalt does not move. He remembered this for a second of consciousness inside the motionless dark. Then nothing. Minjun stood up, went to the kitchen, poured water into a glass, looked at it. Water. If you touch water earlier, transformation into water. Water moves. Water thinks no, but water is alive. Water does not die from a blow. He brought the glass closer, stopped. This is irreversible. If I do it, there is no going back. Looked at the water in the glass, transparent, quiet, with a small bubble near the wall. In the first life, I had no choice. Fell, and that was it. Now there is. He thought for 2 minutes, then lowered his hand into the glass. Nothing happened immediately. The water is cold, wet, the hand is wet. Normal. Then something. Not pain, not heat, pressure from inside. As if something in the blood found a way out. As if the body remembered that it was always 70% water and decided that it could become 100. The hand dissolved. Did not disappear, exactly dissolved. The fingers lost shape, the skin became transparent, the water in the glass and the water from the hand mixed. He watched this. Not painful, strange but not painful. Then further, up the forearm, elbow, shoulder. The wave of transformation moved quickly through the chest, head, legs. 10 seconds and he stood in the kitchen as a silhouette of water. A perfectly transparent contour of a human, the water inside moved in slow currents. He raised his hand, the hand moved. Clenched a fist, the water compressed, held shape. Took a step, the leg left a wet mark on the floor. Works. System activated, liquid. Carrier, Choi Minjun form. Water. Original appearance, available switching by will. Initial abilities, water silhouette, basic form. Full body of water, physical contact passes through, regenerates from surrounding moisture. Compressed flow compression of water inside the body and release in a directed stream. Pressure adjustable. Switching return to human form and back. The system reports, you are water. Water does not break, water finds a way. He read the text hanging in the air before him, transparent like himself. 3 abilities. Initial. That means there will be more. Minjun focused, an effort of will, as the description said. Something clicked inside, not physically, a sensation of a switch. The body returned. Skin, bones, clothes soaked through, he stood in the kitchen and dripped onto the floor. Alive, human, normal in appearance. He looked at his wet hands. 8 months, need to prepare. The first 3 weeks he learned. Not heroically and not methodically. Methodically was his style at work. Here, everything is different. Here, the body knew something that the mind had not yet understood. City park at night, empty, rainy. Good place, the rain gave material. Minjun stood in the middle of the alley at 3 in the morning, transformed and felt how the raindrops touched him and became him. Dissolved into the silhouette, added volume, added strength. I drink rain, literally. He raised his hand, compressed internal effort, like clenching a fist but deeper, as if pressing something inside the chest. From the palm, a stream. Thin at first, then he added pressure like a fire hose, knocked leaves off the nearest tree. "Good," he said out loud. The voice in water form is strange. Not a mouth, no vocal cords. But the sound came. The water vibrated in a certain way, produced something close to a voice, slightly duller, slightly wetter. He trained accuracy, placed 3 empty bottles by a tree found in a trash bin. Stepped back 20 meters. First missed by half a meter. Second hit the edge. The bottle fell. Third attempt, second bottle directly. Shattered. Progress. By the third week, 10 out of 10 from 20 meters. 8 out of 10 from 40. But this was not the only technique he found. By accident, as usually happens with interesting things. He was running in the park in human form. Just running. Maintaining physical condition. Slipped on wet leaves reflex. Transformed in a fraction of a second right in the fall. Fell a puddle. Literally his body became a puddle on the asphalt for a second, then gathered back. Wait. He lay down again deliberately. Transformed. Spread over the asphalt as a flat layer of water, thin, almost invisible in the rain. Lay as a puddle. Watched. Water has no eyes. But he felt the surface around. Every raindrop that touched him. Every movement of air. Interesting. Gathered back into a silhouette. Then spread again, and crawled slowly, controlling like a wave. To the nearest bench, under it, around. I can change form. Not only silhouette, any form while water. The system reacted. New ability unlocked. Formlessness transformation into arbitrary water form. Spreading, penetrating through gaps, imitating surfaces. Requires control. Upon loss of concentration, the form collapses. Collapses means cannot be distracted. He trained this for another month until April. Learned to maintain formlessness while moving, while speaking, under external irritants. Late at night in the park, he could become a puddle. Rise as a wave, take the form of a human silhouette, lie down again, and all this in 4 seconds. 4 seconds is a lot. Need faster. He worked on speed. April. News the apocalypse officially began in November in the first life, but the first case is already in April. Isolated, strange, not understood. A man in Daegu touched a tree and could not remove his hand. Not because he stuck, but because the hand became wood up to the elbow. A medical case, a sensation for a day, then silence. A woman in Japan touched a glass table. Now half of her body is glass, transparent. The organs are visible. Alive, speaks, walks. The glass half is as functional as it was. Minjin read the news and knew this was the beginning. In November, there will be a wave. Now drops. He remembered from the first life those who transformed into something living or fluid survived and retained consciousness. Water, fire, earth, air, plant, they continued to live, just differently. Those who transformed into solid, inorganic concrete, metal, plastic froze. Sometimes forever. Sometimes part of consciousness remained. That was worse. Minjin remembered that boy in the first life, about 12 years old, touched a steel fence. Froze. Stood like a sculpture on the street corner. Eyes metallic but alive. Looked. This he did not want to allow again. In April, he began quietly, without publicity, to talk to people. Not to explain what will happen, not to frighten. Just to lead to the idea. A girl in a coffee shop constantly touched metal jewelry. "Beautiful earrings," said Minjin once. "Thank you. Can I ask something strange?" "Try. If you had to choose which natural substance is closest to you?" She looked at him. "Strange question." "Yes." "Well, water probably," she said. "I love the sea." "Then touch water more often than metal," said Minjun. "Just advice." She looked. "Is this some kind of metaphor?" "No." She laughed the way people laugh at an eccentric they are not afraid of. "Touch water more often than metal. They do not believe me, and will not believe." But maybe some will remember. May brought the first real fight. Not because Minjun was looking for it, just ended up in the right place at the wrong time. Alley in Itaewon. Late, around midnight. He was walking home after training in human form, wet jacket, in his pocket a thermos with water in case it was necessary to replenish volume. 3 come out of the shadow ahead. He saw them earlier before they decided. By how they stood, how they looked, how one of the 3 kept a hand in his pocket, a knife or something similar. Minjun stopped. Analysis, there is no analysis system, only experience of the first life and logic. 3. One with a weapon. The alley is narrow, nowhere to bypass. Can transform, can right here, but then they will see. Phone and wallet, said the one on the far left. Young, about 20, with that nervousness that is worse than confidence. Okay, said Minjun. Reached into his pocket slowly, correctly, so as not to agitate the nervous one. Took out the phone, held it out. The other stepped forward, took it. At that moment, the middle one pulled out a knife. Just like that, not threatening, just a show. Nervous with a knife is worse than confident with a knife. Minjun assessed the distance. 3 meters to the nearest. The alley, walls on both sides. Above a drain pipe, it dripped from it. Pipe. He did not look at the pipe. Just felt the water. Drops from the pipe, a puddle under his feet, damp walls. Transformed not fully. Only hands. Both hands became water, transparent, up to the shoulders. The jacket fell off them like empty. The one on the left saw. Mouth opened. The middle one with the knife froze. What as this started the third? Minjun did not let him finish. The right hand clenched. Pressure sharp, directed. A jet of water, not from the palm, from the whole arm, like a whip, struck the knife. Knocked it out. The metal rang against the wall. The left formlessness, partial. The arms stretched, lengthened, unnaturally. Reached the nervous one's pocket, wrapped around the wrist. Cold and wet and soft, and at the same time pressure like a vice. The nervous one jerked. Did not break free. The phone, said Minjun. The voice in partial transformation is human. The hands are water. A strange combination. The nervous one unclenched his fingers. The phone fell into Minjun's water palm. He caught it. Put it in his pocket. Leave, he said. The trio looked. The middle one, without a knife first, turned around, walked quickly. The third followed. The nervous one last still looked at the water hands. What are you, he said. Water, said Minjun. The nervous one left. Minjun returned his hands to human form, picked up the jacket from the ground, wet, shook it. Stood. First fight. Could have done simpler. Could have done rougher. But they are not enemies, just frightened young idiots. Water does not kill frightened idiots. Water flows around. The system reacted in the morning. He woke up and saw new ability unlocked. Water whip directed high-speed flow in the form of a strike. Range up to 15 meters. Pressure sufficient to destroy concrete at maximum level of concentration. Current level initial. Pressure moderate. To destroy concrete at maximum. Current level initial. Means there is room to grow. He stood up, poured water, drank. Wrote in a notebook. Whip accuracy, range, pressure. Trained separately. On the 1st of November it happened. Not an explosion. Not an announcement on television. Just one day all over the world people began to transform. Not single cases thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Seoul Minjun watched from the apartment window, the street below. A man walked, stumbled on the curb, hand on the asphalt. Stood up, the hand gray, textured, asphalt. Looked at it. Then the transformation went further by itself. In the first days it went by itself. No one had a system like his, just a wave through the body. After a minute, an asphalt man stood, looked, then took a step and realized that the legs hold. Walked slowly, heavily, but walked. Asphalt moves. Good. Neighboring building, a woman threw out garbage, touched the metal handle of the garbage container. A metal woman in 3 minutes. Silvery, shiny. Looked at her hands, screamed, but she screamed. Which means alive, which means there is consciousness. A child in the yard ran to the flower bed, fell into the grass. Minjun watched anxiously, already reaching for the window. The child stood up. Green, literally like grass. Alive green, flexible. Looked at the hands with amazement and not with fear. Plant. Better than metal. Chaos grew slowly, not like in movies with panic and running. Like fog gradually, with each hour denser. By the evening of November 1st, Minjun went out. The streets of Seoul are different. People transformed and not transformed walked side by side. And it was strange not because it was scary, because it was ordinary. As if the world decided that this is normal, and everyone just has to live with it. A glass man at the ATM Minjun saw through him the internal organs. They worked normally, only transparent. A wooden woman texture of bark instead of skin. Eyes dark alive wood. A concrete boy, this is bad. Walked slowly, heavily, each step an effort, but walked. Means not completely yet. There is still a chance. Minjun walked and saw one person who did not move. Street corner. A young woman touched a plastic sign. Froze. Plastic completely with that synthetic shine. Eyes plastic, motionless. He approached, looked at her. No movement. But inside there may be. Can you hear me? He asked. Nothing. In the first life he remembered sometimes they hear. Just cannot respond. If you hear I will return, he said. There are people who study this. Maybe they will find a way. He did not know this for sure, but said it. Sometimes words are needed even if it is unknown whether they will reach. 3 blocks later he was stopped. Not people, a sound. A scream, fast, cut off. Alley to the right. Minjin turned, saw 3 transformed. Not bandits, frightened, just changed people in new bodies who did not understand what could be done now. One metal, big, accidentally hit the wall and made a hole and got scared of his own strength, now rushed around. Another stone moved poorly, fell, and did not understand how to get up. The third, wooden, thin, flexible, ran in panic in circles. And in the corner, a girl, not transformed, cornered. Did not scream anymore, just sat by the wall and covered her head with her hands. The metal one crashed into a trash can. The can crumpled like paper. The metal one got scared again, stepped back, stepped on the wooden one. He fell. Chaos. Not evil, just confused, dangerous chaos. Minjin transformed completely. Water silhouette in the light of a street lamp. Transparent with internal currents, not frightening in appearance, but clearly not human. The metal one stopped, saw something incomprehensible. The wooden one stopped panicking, watched. The stone one from the ground turned his head. Quiet, said Minjun. The water voice is booming, low, like water in a pipe. You threaten no one. You are just scared. This is normal. The metal one looked at him. I do not control, started he. I only wanted hands too strong. I know, said Minjin. Step away from the wall, slowly. Stand in the middle of the alley. I will break. You will not break anything if slowly. The metal one moved slowly, carefully, like a person walking on ice. Stood in the middle. Good, said Minjin. Now breathe. Slowly. The body obeys when you do not panic. It was not exact, he did not know how the metal body works, but the intonation works the same for everyone. The metal one breathed. The metal chest moved, creaked a little, but moved. The wooden one got up from the ground. Looked at the hands in surprise, thin, flexible. I am like a tree in the wind, he said unexpectedly, almost with interest. Yes, said Minjun. The girl in the corner raised her head, looked at the water silhouette. You too, she said. Transformed. Yes. Water. Yes. She looked. You are not dangerous? No. Why should I believe you? You should not, said Minjun. But I did not move toward you, only spoke. She thought for a second. Stood up. What is your name? Minjun. So hi, she said. Where to go now? Good question. December. The world did not collapse instantly. Minjun remembered this from the first life. It changed. Gradually, as everything irreversible changes. The government tried announcements, instructions, centers for helping the transformed. Half of the state structures themselves transformed and dealt with their new bodies. The army is useless against what cannot be stopped. Several units transformed into different ones. Concrete soldiers, steel officers. Some of them continued to serve in new bodies. Some did not. Soul lived. Strange, but lived. Minjin found a place in old abandoned shopping center. 2 floors partially destroyed, but with a working roof. Brought their first 5 whom he met in the first days. So, Hai not transformed, turned out to be a former nurse. The wooden one from the Alley Park Inu, 30 years old, physical education teacher. Wooden body flexible, light, incredible plasticity. The metal one Lee Ganu, 45 builder, learned to control strength in a week. Could bend rebar with hands, used it to reinforce the shelter. The glass Kim Airy, 23 years old, half of the body glass, discovered that she can control transparency, become completely invisible from that side. And the stone man from the alley, Choi Dogan, 52, former policeman. Moved slowly but did not stop. Like a rock, literally. 6 people, then more. Minjin did not announce an organization, did not hang notices. Just helped those he met. Some left, some returned, some brought others. By the end of December, 22 people in the shopping center. The first serious threat came in January. Not from the transformed, from the not transformed. A group of about 20 people, armed. Untouched by the apocalypse, angry because of it, or angry because of everything that was happening. The anger sought an outlet. They walked around the district and took supplies from the transformed. They could not always defend themselves. The glass girl fragile, the stone Dogen slow. They came to the shopping center at night. Minjin knew in advance. Ari saw them from the roof. Her glass side reflected the moonlight, and she could see at sharp angles. 23 people, she said. Armed sticks, several knives, one sawed-off shotgun. Sawed off, said Dogen. One. Good, said Dogen. I will handle. No, said Minjun. Everyone looked at him. No need to fight. They came to take our supplies, said Inu. A wooden fist is not painful, but convincing. Convincing today they will leave and return with a larger group, said Minjun. We are not an army. Pause. I will talk. Alone? Yes, there is a sawed-off. I know. Analysis no system, only logic. 23 armed, not transformed against a group where there is a stone man, a metal one, and a water one. They do not know what they ran into. Strike first panic, blood, escalation. Conversation chance? Small, but chance. He went out through the main entrance alone in human form, lantern in hand. The group stopped. Looked. Is this your place? Said the man with the sawed-off. Short, sharp, with that look of a leader that they become not by choice but by situation. Yes, said Minjin. What is here? People? Supplies? A little. Give them. He is scared, thought Minjin. He is not a villain. He is scared, and behind him are 22 people who are also scared and who look at him. What is your name? Asked Minjun. Pause. Why do you need it? Because it is easier to talk with a name. Long pause. Han, said the man with the sawed-off. Han Minjun. Minjun looked at him. You have 22 people behind you. We need people. You do not have a place, otherwise you would not go at night to look for Chuji supplies. This is not your business. We have a place here and supplies, said Minjun. It will not be enough for 22 people, but we can expand. Pause. Do your people know how to do something specific? Han looked. What kind of proposal is this? Entry, said Minjun. Instead of taking, with us. You have transformed there. Yes, I do not want to live next to. The metal man Li Gonu reinforced the first 2 floors in a week, said Minjun. The wooden park Inu feels vibration in the floor, knows when someone walks a block away. The glass Kim Ari sees in the dark at any angle. Pause. This is your security if they are with you and not against. Han was silent. Behind his back, someone from the group said something quietly. We need to decide, said Han finally. Of course, said Minjun. I will be here. He stood, waited. Compressed flow he kept ready. Did not show. Just held in case the sawed-off would rise. The sawed-off did not rise. Han talked with the people for 3 minutes, quietly. Turned. Temporarily, he said. We will see. Good, said Minjun. Han stayed forever. Temporarily stretched into everything that came after, Minjun also remembered this. People say temporarily when they are afraid to say forever because forever is a frightening word. The system reacted a day later. New ability unlocked water shield formation of a dense water barrier in front of oneself or around. At maximum pressure deflects physical strikes, slows projectiles. Current level deflects cold weapon strikes, small caliber projectiles partially. Shield. Opened not after a fight, after a conversation. Minjun looked at the description. Maybe the system unlocks abilities not for violence, for decisions. Interesting. February brought cold and a new opponent. Not a group of not transformed. One person, his name no one knew. They called him Granite, transformation stone. Not just a stone silhouette, completely granite, monolithic, 2 meters tall. Moved not slowly like Dogen, fast, unexpectedly fast for such mass. And most importantly, other transformed feared him. The first time Minjun heard about him from Inu. He takes control of districts, said Inu. The transformed in his group, he says he protects them. And he himself takes half of the supplies as a tax. How long? A month. Inu looked. 3 whom we knew went to him. They say he is more organized. Maybe he is more organized, said Minjun. He beats those who oppose, said Inu. A stone fist is not convincing, it is fractures. Silence. Will he come here? Already coming. Our district is next on his route, Minjin thought. Granite stone, strong, fast. Water whip at maximum pressure destroys concrete. But granite is harder than concrete. Water shield holds strikes. But a stone fist at full speed, unknown. Formlessness cannot bypass him. He blocks space with his body. What else? He trained 3 days. Found in the basement of the shopping center, an old industrial pump not working. Disassembled. Understood the principle. Pressure in a pipe is not from volume of water, from flow speed. Narrow pipe, same water, higher pressure. He tried to narrow the flow, not from the whole arm, from 2 fingers. Concentrated. First attempt missed the wall, splashed. Second hit, the wall brick, a mark. Third, the same wall. The brick cracked. Fourth, the brick flew out. From 2 fingers pressure like an industrial cutter. System, ability improved. Compressed flow to needle, concentrated flow diameter 3 to 5 millimeters. Maximum pressure, range 8 meters. Pierces concrete, destroys granite on direct hit. Destroys granite. Good. Granite came a week later, not at night, during the day. With 10 of his people behind him, different transformations, steel, clay, 2 wooden. Not transformed were also there, armed. Minjin went out alone, saw granite up close and understood why he was feared. Not just size. There was something of a rock in him, not only physically immobility. Confidence of an object that does not feel pain. You are in charge here, said Granite. Not a question. One of, said Minjin. Do not do that. Granite looked from above literally. Height gave the right. I know who makes decisions. Pause, the terms are simple. 30% of your supplies monthly. In return, no one touches you, except you. We do not touch those who pay. Who is the guarantee? I am. Minjin looked at him. This is not negotiation. This is a demonstration of strength with an offer to surrender. No, said Minjin. Granite looked. Repeat. No. Pause about 3 seconds. Granite moved fast unexpectedly, a fist toward Minjun. Minjun transformed. The fist passed through literally. Through the water silhouette as through water. Splashes, Minjun scattered for a moment, gathered behind Granite. Granite turned. In his eyes for the first time something. Not fear. Lack of understanding. This had not happened before. I am water, said Minjun. I cannot be struck. Can be frozen, said Granite. Smart. February, agreed Minjun. Can, pause. But first you will receive this. Needle, right index finger. Concentration. Pressure. The shot thin, almost invisible like a water needle. Into Granite's shoulder. Granite is stone, should not feel it. But needle is pressure. Pressure finds cracks. In the Granite shoulder, a thin crack widened. Granite looked at his shoulder. The crack thin, webbing across the stone surface. About 8 centimeters. Not deep, but visible. His people behind him saw. All of them. This is more important than pain. A public crack in the one considered unbreakable is a crack in the idea. Granite raised his gaze, looked at Minjin for a long time. You did this, he said. Yes. Again. Needle again. The same finger, the same pressure. Minjin did not fire. No, he said. Granite waited. I do not want to break you, said Minjin. You gathered people, organized them, they survived. That is your work, and it is worth something. Pause. But 30% of supplies is not protection. It is parasitism. A beautiful word. An exact one. Silence. The steel one behind Granite moved. A step forward. Stop, said Granite. The steel one stopped. Granite looked at the crack in his shoulder, then at Minjun. You can make it deeper, he said. Not a question, an assessment. Yes? Then why did you not? Because I do not know what you were before November, said Minjun. Maybe you were a teacher, maybe a doctor. Transformation does not change who a person was, it only adds a new body. Granite was silent. You talk a lot, he said finally. Yes, it is irritating. I know. A long pause. Granite turned to his people. We are leaving, he said. The steel one in surprise. We are leaving. They left. Minjin stood and watched them go. Returned to human form, wet, the cold February air, steam from his mouth. Behind him, the creak of a door. Dogen came out. They will return, he said. Maybe, said Minjin. You should have used the moment. What moment? He was confused, could have finished it. Minjun looked at the empty street. Finished it. What does that mean? Break him enough, said Dogen, so he does not come back. He brought 10 people, said Minjun. Behind him, how many more does he have now, you said? About 40. 40 people who survived because he gathered them. Minjun looked at the street. If I break him, those 40 will scatter. In February, without organization, without supplies. Pause. Some will die. Dogen was silent. You think about those you do not know, he said. I try. It is slower, said Dogen. More dangerous. Yes, but more right. I do not know. Minjun turned. Let's go inside. It is cold. Dogen looked at him for another second. You are strange, he said. People tell me. The system at night. New ability unlocked. Hydrolocation water in the surrounding environment becomes a sensor. Within a radius of 30 meters, any moisture, any puddle, any water pipe transmits information about the movement and weight of objects. Works passively in transformation. System note. Water is everywhere. Now you feel it. Minjun lay in the dark and tried the new thing. Transformed into a silhouette in bed. A strange sensation of the bed under a water body. Closed his eyes, no eyes, closed something internal. Felt. A puddle at the entrance 20 meters away. Someone passed nearby. Vibration in the puddle. Weight approximately 80 kilograms. Step nervous. The water pipe under the floor. Water flowed quietly somewhere. Through the pipes, the sensation like fingers along veins. Moisture in the air, condensation on the windows. There, behind the glass, the street empty. 30 meters of sensor. This changes everything. He lay and listened to his building. 22 people, each breathed, each carried moisture in breath and sweat. He felt them, not thoughts, not words. Presence, living, warm, different. So, high room upstairs. Restless sleep, tossing. Inu at the window, sitting. Not asleep either. Ganu, motionless. Metal people sleep differently, deeper, heavier. Dogen by the doors. Guarding. Not because appointed, simply the habit of a former policeman. Minjun lay and listened. This is my water. My people. Fell asleep for the first time in a long time without anxiety. Granite returned in 10 days. Alone. Without his people, alone, in the middle of the day, knocked on the main entrance of the shopping center. Knocked, did not break in, did not demand. Ari saw from the roof. Told Minjun. Alone, she said. No weapons. Pause. Although he himself is a weapon. Open the gate, Minjun. Open it. Granite entered, looked around silently with that expression of a man evaluating the space. Minjun waited in the main hall. Nearby Dogen, Gonu, Inu. Not threateningly, they were simply there. Granite stopped. Looked at Minjun. What is your name? He said. Choi Minjun. Pan Yongjun, said Granite. Me. Pause. You were right, said Pan Yongjun. About parasitism. Minjun waited. My people eat, Yongjun continued, because I take from others. They told me that this is protection. They to us, we to them. But, he looked at his stone hands. Those who do not give, I heard what mine do to them. Pause. I did not order it. But did not forbid it either, said Dogen. No, did not forbid it. Yongjun raised his eyes. What is different here? Here people work, said Minjun. Everyone, according to the abilities of the body. Pause. Gonu strengthens the building. Inu patrols. Ari observation. So high medicine. Han with the non-transformed supply. And what does that give? Everyone feels needed, said Minjun. That is more important than supplies. Yongjun thought. My people. 41 people, he said. If I bring them here, will you take them? Analysis, no system, only practice. 41 people is a lot. The shopping center is built for the current 22. Expansion needed. But the stone man Yongjun, if he is with us, not against us, that is a different balance. If he decides again that his system is better, 41 people plus himself against us. Risk. But his first life Minjun looked at him not angry. Confused. Those are different things. One condition, said Minjun. Speak. You do not command here, neither yours nor ours. You are one of many, an equal. Yongjun looked. Equal, he repeated. 41 people behind me, an equal. Yes. Minjin looked straight. Because if you enter as commander of 41, tomorrow you will have 50. And the day after tomorrow you will be granted again. Pause. I need Pan Yongjun, not granite. A long silence. Yongjun looked at Minjin, then at Dogen, then at his stone hands. Fine, he said. 41 people came by evening. The shopping center became cramped immediately, noisy, chaotic, with the smell of too many people in an enclosed space. Minjin stood on the balcony of the second floor and looked down. 63 people, transformed and not. Stone and glass and wood and metal and ordinary. In the first life I died alone at an ATM. In this life 63. So Hai came up to the balcony, stood beside him. How do you do it? She said. What? Organize people. She looked down. Yongjun was afraid of you. Han had a weapon. You convinced him with words. Metal Gonu, when he came, was in panic, now strengthens the building as if he had done it all his life. Pause. How? I see what they need, said Minjin. How do you see it? I died once, he said. So Hai looked at him. What? Does not matter. He looked down. When you die, you understand that people want one thing, that their presence has meaning. Pause. Give a person meaning, and he will do the rest himself. So Hai was silent. You are strange, she said. People tell me. She looked at him from the side. You are transformed, she said. Water. Pause. Are you ever afraid that you will lose the human part? Minjin thought. Every time I transform, he said honestly. And every time I come back. Pause. So far. So Hai looked down. So far, she repeated quietly. March brought a new type of threat. Not loners, not frightened groups. Organized, with equipment, with a plan, with an understanding that the transformed are a resource. They were called different things. In the first life, Minjin heard hunters, non-transformed people who understood that transformed bodies have properties that can be used, metal ones for construction, wood ones for fuel if it comes to that, glass ones for optics. First signal Airy. In the north of the district, she said. Truck. A sealed van without windows. Around it 6 people, armed professionally. Pause. With them 2 transformed. On leashes. On leashes. On leashes, repeated Minjin. Metal collars, said Airy. They are leading them. Silence in the room. Gonu Metal Gonu, who built and repaired, looked at his hands. A collar on a metal one, he said quietly. This is possible. Because metal itself, said Minjun. Yes? Metal to metal, a coupling. If the links are right, it will not tear free with its own strength. Gonu looked straight. I would need to use all my strength to break such a chain. Can you? Do not know. Pause. Maybe. But those 2 on the street are not trying. That means either they cannot or do not want to. Or they were told that they could not, said Yongjun. Psychology, said Minjun. Yes, in the first life the hunters used this, they convinced the transformed that they were helpless without human supervision. That the new body is weakness. The first weeks it worked on the confused, then less, when people got used to their bodies. We need to find that van, said Minjun. Why, said Han. Said, they are not going to us yet. They are going to someone, said Minjun. To someone smaller and weaker than us. Han looked. That is not our problem. In the first life I thought that, said Minjun. Then it became my problem. Han looked for a long time. How many are going? I am, said Minjun. Inu, Yongjun. 3 of us against 6, armed. 4, said Ari. She stood by the wall with the look of a person who had already decided. I am going. Glass half. Invisibility from one side. Valuable in a night alley. Fine, said Minjun. 4. They found the van in 20 minutes. Hydrolocation gave a map of moisture in the district. Minjun felt the movement of heavy bodies by the vibration in puddles. The van stood by a residential building. 2 hunters outside with weapons, automatic rifles, serious. 2 transformed by the van, metal ones with collars. At the entrance to the building negotiations. 4 hunters, one of them talking to an elderly man who was trying to close the door. Could not. Hunter's foot in the door. Minjun assessed the situation from the darkness of the alley. 2 by the van, Guards and transformed with collars. 4 by the door. 6 total. Inu beside him wooden, flexible, in the dark, almost invisible. Yongjun huge, noisy, cannot in an alley. Ari had already disappeared, her transparent side turned toward the street lamp. Yongjun, Minjun said quietly. The 2 by the van, you on them. Do not kill, knock out the weapons. If I strike they will break, said Yongjun. Softly, I am stone. Softly for you, softly for me is a dislocation. Then a dislocation. Yongjun looked at him. Fine. Inu to the door. Quietly, low, along the wall if you can. Inu wooden, flexible, flat when he wants. Nodded. Began to move along the wall, literally. Flexibility allowed him to press himself and slide soundlessly. Ari, do you hear me? Silence. Then a light touch on his shoulder. She was nearby, simply invisible. 4 by the door, you watch all of them. If someone raises a weapon toward Inu or Yongjun, touch twice. Understood. Me, the metal ones with collars, said Minjun quietly to himself. Transformed quietly, without sound. Water silhouette in the dark. Hydrolocation active. Felt all 6 hunters. Felt the moisture in the collars of the metal people. Collars metal. But the locks are mechanical. Mechanics require precision. Precision is disrupted by pressure. Needle into the lock, a micro-explosion of water in the mechanism. He moved to the van not on the ground, along the wall. Formlessness, spread into a thin layer over the brick, crawled upward and sideways, invisible in the darkness. Yongjun went toward the 2 guards by the van. Did not hide, simply walked. Loudly, heavily, each step like a sledgehammer strike on asphalt. The guards heard, turned around. Saw a 2-meter stone figure in the darkness. The first raised the automatic rifle, reflex, not decision. Shot. The bullet hit Yongjun in the chest, ricocheted, went into the wall. Yongjun stopped. Looked at the chest where the bullet had left a white scratch. Looked at the guard. Painful, said Yongjun. A little. The guard looked. One more time and it will hurt you, said Yongjun. The second guard dropped the automatic rifle. Immediately without thinking. Raised his hands. The first a bit slower, but 2. Yongjun took both automatic rifles, bent the barrels calmly, the way wire is bent, threw them aside. That is what softly means for me. At the door he knew. He crawled along the wall to the shoulder level of the hunter, who kept his foot in the door. Hung at the side a wooden silhouette, flat, pressed to the brick. The hunter was talking to the elderly man, demanding to enter. The man refused. Inu stretched out a hand. Wooden fingers, flexible, thin, wrapped around the hunter's ankle. The hunter felt it. Looked down. From the wall, a hand was growing. Inu jerked. The hunter fell inside the entrance hall, face to the floor. The elderly man recoiled. The other 3 hunters by the door turned to the sound. Ari at that moment. He did not see her, no one saw her, but saw the result. The first guard suddenly bent over, a strike to the knee, invisible from a person who was not there. The second, his weapon disappeared from his hands, simply yanked away. The third managed to raise a pistol, a shot into the darkness, into nobody. A quiet sound, something hit the wall. Pistol. 3 hunters stood without weapons and looked at what was not there. There is someone here, said one. Yes, said Ari, from the darkness, without a body. The first hunter stepped back. The second ran. The third looked at the wall from which the voice came. Do not shoot, he said. I am leaving. Leave, said Ari. Left. Minjun by the van. While everything else was unfolding, he worked quietly. Spread over the side of the van in a thin layer of water over metal. Felt vibration from inside. People, too, alive, warm. Frightened, he felt fear through the moisture in their breath. 2 inside. Transformed or not, unknown. The metal ones with collars stood by the van, both looking at Yongjun and the 2 guards with raised hands. Did not move. Minjun gathered himself from the wall, stood between them, looked at the collars. Metal, dense, forged, lock on the right side of each, small, precise. The first metal person, a woman, he could tell by the shape of the silhouette. Looked at him. In the metal eyes, something living. I will remove the collar, said Minjun. Do not move. She did not move. Needle, little finger. Minimum pressure, maximum precision. The point of the stream into the keyhole. Compressed. A short pop, almost soundless. The lock from within, the mechanics broken by water pressure. Click. The collar fell. The metal woman slowly raised a hand, touched the neck where the collar had been. Looked at Minjun. "Thank you," she said. The metal voice like a strike on an anvil, but the words distinct. "Second," said Minjun. The second metal man, large, in a double collar, thicker than the first. Minjun looked at the lock. More difficult. Double mechanism, 2 fingers, needle split. He had not done that before. 2 streams simultaneously into 2 locking mechanisms. Tried. The first stream entered. The second scattered. He did not hold the pressure. Again. I hold the first, the second slower, more precise. Both streams, both lock simultaneously. Double pop. The double collar fell. The metal man straightened. Minjun felt how he straightened. Literally, as if something in the spine had unbent. System. Ability improved. Needle-to-needle splitting simultaneous release of up to 3 independent streams, each controlled separately. Pressure distributed between the streams, total the same, individual less. Splitting. 3 simultaneous point strikes. Useful. Minjun opened the van doors from inside. Formlessness seeped through the gap. Inside, dark, stuffy, smell of metal and fear. 2. A girl about 12, wooden, huddled in the corner. A young guy about 20, earth, dark, motionless. Alive, breathing, Minjun felt the moisture in the breath. The girl saw the water silhouette, huddled tighter. "I am not a hunter," said Minjun. Water voice in the dark van, a strange sound. The girl looked. "The hunters outside have left," he said. "The doors are open." Pause. "You can come out." "They will come back," said the girl. Quietly, but firmly. "Where do you have to go?" Silence. "Nowhere." "Then with us," said Minjun. The girl looked at him for a long time. "You are water," she said. "Yes, water is kind," she said. "Simply like a fact, like something decided long ago." "Tries to be," said Minjun. The earth guy in the corner moved, raised his head. Eyes dark, earth-colored, but alive. "They will not separate us," he said. "We were together when they caught us." "Brother?" asked Minjun. "Friend," said the guy. "But that is the same thing, the same thing. They will not separate you," said Minjun. They returned to the shopping center by midnight. 8 new people, 2 freed metal ones, the wooden girl, the earth guy, the elderly man from the entrance hall into which Inu had accidentally dragged him inward when the hunter fell, and 3 more who lived in the same building and came out to see what was happening and stayed. The shopping center, 71 people now. Han looked at the new people. Looked at Minjun. "Every time more," he said. "Yes. When will we stop taking them?" "When there is no room," said Minjun. "There is room for now. Resources, we work." Han looked. "You know that more will come to us." He spoke quietly, not aggressively. Rumors spread. A place where people are accepted, people go. "Yes. And the hunters will find out too." "They will too. That does not worry you." "It worries me," said Minjun. "But if we start closing ourselves off, we will become the same as Yongjun was before he came." Pause. "A wall around our own." "A wall is survival," said Han. "A wall is slow death," said Minjun. "It just looks like life from the inside." Han was silent. "You speak like one who knows how it will end," he said. Minjun looked at him. "Maybe," he said. Abilities did not unlock on a schedule. Sometimes after a fight, sometimes after a decision, sometimes just like that. At the beginning of April rain, strong, real April downpour, Minjun went outside alone, at night, into the rain, transformed, and felt. Not hydrolocation, something else. The raindrops touched him and became him, that he knew. But now he reached toward them, upward, into the sky, to the clouds. Clouds are water. Rain is water. He is water. We are one. System. New ability unlocked. Water summoning intensified attraction of moisture from the surrounding environment. In rain, the body volume increases many times over. In dry weather, works more slowly, pulls moisture from the air. At maximum concentration, can control the direction of precipitation within a radius of 50 meters. Control the direction of precipitation. He tried, reached toward the rain above the street, felt the drops as part of himself, Everyone thousands upon thousands of drops. Pulled. The rain above the neighboring block bent. Not much, slightly like a curtain in a draft. But it bent. Minjin stood in a puddle that was becoming him, legs ankle deep. The volume of the body had grown. He was larger than usual, wider, denser. At maximum volume, how much pressure in the whip? He raised a hand huge from rainwater and city puddles, a hand the size of a door. Whip not from a finger, from the whole arm. Struck the wall of the abandoned building opposite. The wall brick, old, punched straight through. A hole the size of a person, brick scattered inward. Minjin looked. In rain I am much stronger, this is important. He returned the extra volume, released the water back into the puddles, became normal size. Behind him the creak of a door. Eri stood under the canopy watching. You saw, said Minjin. Yes, pause. The wall. Control still poor. The wall, Eri repeated. I will train accuracy. Ari looked at him. Minjin, she said. Yes. You know that you are strong. She spoke slowly. Not just that you have water. You are truly strong, in mind. Pause. Why did you not use this earlier? Before the apocalypse. He looked at the rain. Did not know, he said. And now you do, now yes. How? Minjin thought for a second. Death teaches, he said. Even if afterward you live. Eri watched him for a long time. You died, she said. Not a question. Yes, and came back. Yes. Then you understand something that we do not understand. What exactly? That every day is second, said Eri. Quietly, with that precise expression that people have when they say something greater than they planned. Minjun looked at her. A glass girl of 23 speaks more precisely than he himself thought. Yes, he said. Exactly. The rain fell. They waited for it. In April the hunters returned. Not those 6, others. More organized. They had a name now. Archivists. It sounded academic. The meaning was different. They collected the transformed like a collection. Not cruelly, that was their cunning. Not chains and collars, offers, place, food, safety. In exchange, work according to the body. Metal ones build, wooden ones supply. Stone ones security. Organized labor of the transformed under the management of the non-transformed. Beautiful if you do not think about what management means. Their envoy came himself alone, without weapons, in expensive by-apocalypse standards clothes. Clean. Minjin received him in the main hall. The envoy, young, about 30, with the smile of a professional. Looked at those gathered, Yongjun by the wall, Gonu by the door, Inu somewhere on the ceiling invisible, Ari in her invisibility by the window. Looked calmly, not afraid, experienced. Had seen many things. A beautiful collection, he said. People, said Minjin, not a collection. Of course, the envoy agreed, easily without argument. I expressed myself badly. He sat opposite Minjin. Have you heard of the archivists? We have. Then you know what we offer. We know. And analysis. Why is he here? Not an offer that could be sent by letter. He came to look. You came to assess, said Minjin. The envoy's face changed slightly, not much. Professional control. But it changed. Smart, he said. What are you assessing? Group composition. Capabilities. Pause. Potential problems in case of refusal. Refusal, Minjin repeated. There are always those who refuse, said the envoy. This is normal. We do not force. Pause. We simply assess what will happen if we do not come to an agreement. A threat wrapped in politeness. Fine, said Minjin. I am assessing too. Me? You and those behind you. The envoy smiled. And what are you assessing? You are not afraid to be in a room with the transformed, said Minjin. That means you have seen many. That means the archivists have experience. Pause. You say we do not force too quickly. That word comes up earlier than it should when a person is used to explaining it. That means they do force. The envoy's smile became slightly more fixed. You say the 2 metal ones whom we freed were not forced either? Minjun added. Silence. The metal woman by the wall, she came to this conversation. Watched the envoy. The envoy looked at her. Recognized her. Something in his gaze quick, professional. This is a misunderstanding, he said. Of course, said Minjun, his own intonation, his own ease. We do not cooperate with the archivists. That is our answer. Do you understand what that means? Yes, then you are either very confident in your strength or very naive. Usually the second, said Minjun, sometimes the first. The envoy stood up, adjusted his jacket. 3 days, he said. If you change your mind, you will have a contact. We will not change our mind. The envoy left. The door closed. Yongjun by the wall exhaled. Loudly, a stone exhale like the crack of rock. 3 days, he said. Yes, they will come with force? Yes, we are 71, said Yongjun. Of them, how many fighters, really? 18, said Han. He counted immediately, Minjun saw. Transformed, who can fight? The rest no. The archivists by rumor have several hundred, said Yongjun. Rumors exaggerate, said Minjun. Do you know exactly? No, pause, but I know something else. Everyone looked at him. They need the transformed alive, said Minjun. Damaged are less valuable. Killed are useless. Pause. They will not attack to exterminate. They will press so that we surrender. That means we can hold, said Inu. That means we can hold longer than they expect, Minjun corrected. And that will give time. For what? To talk with those under their command, said Minjun. The transformed in the organization of the archivists, not all of them are there voluntarily. Some are frightened, some are misled. Pause. An army that does not want to fight does not fight well. Han looked at him. You want to break down their army from the inside in 3 days, he said. Start, said Minjun. Breaking down is long. Starting is real. How? The metal woman, said Minjun. Looked at her. What is your name? Zhang Hyerin, she said. Hyerin Minjun. Among those who are now with the archivists are there those you knew there. Those who also are not there by their own will. Yes? She did not hesitate. Several. Can you reach them? Risky. I understand, Hyerin thought. I can, she said finally. Give me a day. For 3 days, Minjun did not sleep properly, dozed in snatches, transformed and listened with hydrolocation to the district around. Felt movement, weight, presence. The archivists were preparing, he heard them through the moisture in the air. Heavy steps of metal ones, somewhere on neighboring streets. Many. Hyerin returned on the second day, with her 2 others. A metal man and a silicon woman, half-transparent, with thin, sharp edges on her hands. They want to leave, said Hyerin, but they are afraid. Pause. They were told that the archivists are the only safe place, that the transformed alone will not survive. A lie, said Minjun. They know, said Hyerin. But when they say it for a long time, you begin to doubt. How many are ready to leave? They do not know exactly. She looked at Minjun. If there is somewhere to go more, here one can go. Then give me 1 more day. 3rd day dawn. Hydrolocation signal. Heavy, multiple from the north. They are coming. Minjun climbed to the roof. The dawn was red. April early. The streets below still empty. The wind from the north damp. No rain. Bad, without rain the volume is smaller. But there is moisture in the air. April moisture. He transformed, reached toward the moisture in the air. Water summoning is slower without rain, but works. The volume was growing gradually. Minjun on the roof was becoming bigger. Not rapidly, slowly, like a tide. Below, Yongjun raised his gaze. They are coming, he said. I know, said the water silhouette above. The voice deeper than usual, more water, more resonance. How many? Hydrolocation, he counted by the vibration in puddles. 32 heavy ones, said Minjun. Metal, stone, and about 20 light ones behind. 50, approximately. Yongjun watched. We have 18 fighters, plus me, said Minjun. That is 19. And look at the northern alley. Yongjun turned. Coming out of the alley were metal ones, too. Behind them, more. The silicon woman, an earth one, a wooden one. 7 transformed whom Hyerin had brought. Not to the archivists, to the shopping center. Hyerin did it, said Yongjun. 26 fighters now, said Minjun, against 50. Yes, but look at their formation. The archivists were entering the district. Minjun could already see them from the roof. They moved tightly, confidently, but 7 places in the formation were empty. Those who left had left. The formation knew it. Those who remained knew that those beside them were no longer there. An army that sees empty places in its formation fights differently. Han, said Minjin downward. Start. Han stepped out to meet them with two non-transformed without weapons, hands visible. An old negotiation signal. The archivists stopped. Their commander Minjin saw from the roof. Transformed, dark, basalt, a different kind of stone than Yongjun, denser. We do not negotiate, said the commander. Then look at your own, said Han. Count. The commander looked at the formation. Empty places, 7. Deserters, said the commander. People who left to where they wanted, said Han. This is not desertion. This is choice. They violated nothing, said Han. Because they signed nothing, gave no oath, some were taken by force. Pause. Your remaining ones know it. The commander was silent. Leave, said Han simply. Do not touch those here. We do not touch you. That is all. We have another order. Then look at the roof, said Han. The commander raised his gaze. On the roof, a water silhouette. Large, the April moisture had done its work. Minjin had absorbed enough. The size of 2 normal figures, half transparent, glowing in the dawn light. Water, said someone in the formation of the archivists. Minjin raised his hand. Water summoning maximum, moisture from the air, from pipes under the ground, from puddles around was drawn to him, adding volume. Whip, not at people. At the asphalt before the formation. Strike. The asphalt split open, a wave of cracks about 3 meters. Splashes of dirt and water to the sides. The formation of the archivists stepped back 1 step. Reflex. Good reflex. The next one will not be into the asphalt, said Minjun. The voice from the roof low, booming everywhere at once. The commander looked at the cracks. Looked at Minjun. Looked at his formation with empty places. Thought. Minjun saw it even from the roof. The basalt commander was thinking. Not about victory, about meaning. That is what is needed, not to frighten, to give a moment to think. Your people may come out to us if they want, said Minjun from the roof. Now. Right now, whoever wants to leave the archivists. We accept. Silence. Movement in the formation. One metal man in the middle stepped forward, stopped, looked at the commander. The commander was silent. The metal man took another step, stepped out of the formation, then 2 more. Nearby. Simultaneously, as if they had been waiting for someone to go first. The commander looked. You do not began he. Say nothing to them, said Minjin. They are not your property. Long silence. The commander, basalt, dark, heavy, stood and watched as 4 more stepped out of his formation. 9 people left. The formation of the archivists from 32 became 23. The commander turned, walked back. The rest followed him. Silently. Han returned inside, sat down. Was silent for a long time. You planned this, he said finally. I counted on something similar, said Minjun. He returned to ordinary size slowly, releasing water back into the air and earth. Stood wet on the stairs. The archivist will return. Yes, but with a smaller formation, and with a commander who today saw what he saw. Pause. This changes the negotiations. You think there will be negotiations. I think yes. Minjun looked at the 9 new people whom their leaving had brought. People who saw that it is better here will tell those who stayed. Those will tell the next ones. Pause. The best agitation is not words. Their own feet that carried you where it is better. Han looked at him. 80 people, he said quietly. There were 71. Now 80. Yes, you will not stop. No. Where are you leading us, Minjun thought. For now I do not know exactly, he said honestly, but forward. System. New ability unlocked. Sea voice with a significant volume of water in the body. The voice spreads through any moisture within a radius of 100 meters. Heard through walls, underground, in closed rooms. Every drop of water a conductor. System note. Water remembers every sound that passed through it. Now you are the voice of water. Minjun looked at the description. Voice through water, everywhere. 100 meters, puddles, pipes, condensation on the windows. Everywhere there is water, there I can speak. He tried quietly, not for everyone. Transformed, felt the puddle by the far wall of the building. Whispered. So hi. She was standing by that wall with her back to him, speaking with someone, flinched, turned around, looked at the puddle. "Minjun?" she said. He waved from the other end of the hall. She looked first at the puddle, then at him. "That was from the puddle," she said. "Yes, you speak through puddles." "Now, yes." So Hai looked for a long time. "You know," she said, "sometimes you scare me." "I am a puddle," said Minjun. "There is nothing to be afraid of. That is exactly what is frightening." April melted into May. 80 people. Then 93 when more came. Then 108. The shopping center stopped holding them. Gonu and Yongjin worked constantly, expanding, strengthening. The neighboring buildings were connected with passages. The archivist came again, another commander, another tone. Not a threat, an offer of interaction, exchange of resources. Minjin spoke cautiously, without hurry. The negotiations went slowly. That is how it should be. Fast agreements are fragile. At night, Minjun went out alone. Transformed in rain when there was rain, in dryness simply stood. Listened to the city through water. A pipe under the district hummed. In it flowed something, not pure water, mixed, but it flowed. The city still lived, transformed, strange, different, but lived. Wooden children in the neighboring district, he heard their play through puddles. They laughed, flexible wooden voices, a strange sound, but laughter recognizable in any body. A stone old man by the park sat down every evening on a bench. Stone, almost motionless, but sat down. Every evening. Habits are stronger than transformation. A person remains a person. As long as there are habits, there is a person. One night, quietly, without warning, the system gave the last of what he saw that night. Achievement. You gathered more than 100 people without coercion. You freed, transformed from under control. You chose conversation 3 times instead of a strike. The system records, this is not weakness. Passive ability unlocked. Memory of water. Water remembers everything that passed through it. You too. Upon contact with any water that touched another person, you feel a trace. Not thoughts, not words. Emotional trace fear, calm, pain, joy. Works passively. Memory of water. Water remembers. Minjun stood under the rain. Every drop had touched someone before. A cloud above the city, it gathered moisture from hundreds of places. From the skin of people, from the earth, from rivers. He felt not clearly, not specifically. Like a background. Like a choir of voices where there are no words, only tone. Fatigue. A lot of fatigue. Fear as a background, constant. But something else too. Warm. Not everywhere, not in everyone, but it was there. Something living. Warm. Hope. He stood under the rain and felt it blurred. Quiet, but real. In the drops that fell from the sky and carried within them the traces of hundreds of people. They are afraid, they are tired, but they hope. That means there is sense in continuing. Minjun returned to human form. Wet, cold, stood under the May rain and simply breathed. He had no compass, not like in another story. He had a puddle under his feet. That is enough. The June sun struck unexpectedly, not with temperature, with drought. 2 weeks without rain. Minjun felt it first. Water summoning reached into the air and found less. Humidity dropped, puddles dried. The water pipe in the district worked intermittently. Without water, I am weaker. Significantly. He began to store not food, water. Large containers, cisterns that Gonu and Yongjin dragged from an abandoned base. Filled them, covered them. At night, Minjun transformed and immersed himself into the cisterns. Not to bathe, to store. Part of his water he could leave there, preserve it, return later. Reserve. Spare volume if around it is dry. System ability improved. Water summoning. Reservoir the ability to divide off part of your water mass and store it in a container. Stored water remains part of you, you feel it, you can instantly absorb it back upon contact. Maximum reserve 3-fold body volume. 3-fold body volume. The cistern held about 3,000 liters. 3,000 liters of me in reserve. In drought, this is the difference between normal strength and a confused silhouette. He trained absorbing the reserve, speed. At first 10 seconds to absorb from the cistern, then 6. By the end of the week, 3 seconds. 3 seconds in battle is much, but better than 10. The threat came in mid-June. Not the archivists. Negotiations with them were ongoing, slowly but ongoing. Others. The Steels, that was what Dogen called them. A group of transformed, all metal, all steel. Homogeneous, which is rare. They rallied because they were alike. That happens. Steel to steel, stone to stone. Finding your own in chaos is easier than searching for meaning. But the steels were organized differently than ordinary groups. They had a leader, Song Keol. Transformed into alloyed steel, stronger than ordinary, thinner. Moved quickly, thought faster. Song Keol wanted territory, not people, not resources, territory. District by district. The logic simple. More territory, more control over what is on it. He was not a villain. He was a strategist with a limited picture of the world. Their district next on his map. Inu brought the news he had been patrolling, felt vibration in the ground 3 districts away. Wooden legs felt the soil well. 20 steel ones, said Inu. Moving. Organized, not a crowd, a formation. Speed. Slow for now. More likely reconnaissance. When will they be here? An hour. Maybe an hour and a half, Minjun thought. Steel one's fast, durable. Needle into steel depends on thickness. Alloyed steel needle will not pierce with ordinary pressure. Whip with maximum pressure will bend, maybe stun from impact. Will not pierce. Reserve in the cistern, 3,000 liters. Drought, little moisture in the air. Reserve critical. Yongjun, said Minjun. Listening. Granite against steel, what? Yongjun thought for a second. Granite is harder, he said, but steel is more flexible. On impact, granite will endure more. Under pressure, steel will not break, but bend. That yields worse. If I bend steel, does it not recover on its own? Do not know, said Yongjun. About myself, a crack heals slowly. Several hours. Maybe with the steels, it is similar. To bend, temporarily put out of action. For that, not needle, but whip. Pressure broader, not point-like, but impact. But whip without a large volume of water is moderate. With reserve from the cistern, different. Get everyone inside, said Minjun. Everyone. Gonu weld the entrances except one northern one. Yongjun, northern entrance, inside, wait for my signal. You alone outside, said Yongjun. For now, yes. This is a bad plan. Is there a better one? Pause. No, said Yongjun, then go. Minjun went out to the cistern. Transformed. Absorbing the reserve, 3 seconds. 3,000 liters entered him as the tide enters a bay. Smoothly, fully, unstoppably. He stood in the street and was huge. Not a monster, the silhouette of a man, simply very large. About 5 meters tall, made of water, transparent, with deep currents inside. Drought around, he felt it. The dry air pulled, tried to evaporate him. Slowly, the volume too large to do it quickly, but was losing gradually. A time counter. The longer I drag it out, the less volume. Work quickly. Hydrolocation, he felt the steels already from 2 districts away. 20 heavy bodies, vibration in dry earth, less signal than in wet. But there. They saw him when they came out from around the corner. Stopped. 20 steel ones shining in the June sun, sharp even. Beautiful almost if you look at them as material. Song Cheol was in front. Minjun guessed him by the way he stood. Not from the crowd, a little ahead, with that angle of the shoulders that those have who are used to being looked at. Is this your territory? Asked Song Cheol. Looked at the water giant without fear, assessed. Ours, said Minjun. Sea voice from the huge volume, the sound went everywhere, from every drop. People live here, we need territory. Why? Control, said Song Cheol simply. Control over what? Over what happens? Minjun looked at him. He does not want people, he wants order. He sees the world through territory. Whoever owns space controls events. This is not malice, this is limited logic. What happened to you before the transformation? Asked Minjun. Song Cheol stopped. What? What were you? Pause. That is none of your business. Police, said Minjun. Did not ask. Pronounced it. Military. Security structure. Song Cheol looked. Security, he said after a pause. Corporate? State. State security. Used to zones of responsibility. To sectors. To the idea that order is boundaries. Listen, said Minjun. You want order. I understand that. But territory is not order. It is an illusion of control. Pause. Real control is when the people on the territory do not tear each other apart on their own. Beautiful, said Song Cheol. But not practical. Practical, said Minjun. I have 108 people. They do not tear each other apart on their own, without my constant force. For now. For now, yes. Minjun lowered a huge hand, a huge water palm to the ground. Not threateningly, simply lowered it. We need you. Song Cheol was silent. 20 steel people, Minjun continued. Organized, disciplined, with a commander who knows how to think strategically. Pause. We do not have that. We have everything else, medics, agronomists, builders, scouts, but no disciplined defense. You are offering me a job, said Song Cheol, offering a place. Difference. A job is I command, you obey, said Minjun. A place is you command your 20, I do not interfere. We discuss boundaries together. Long silence. One of the steel ones behind Song Cheol quietly said something. Song Cheol did not turn, but heard. I need to think, he said. Good, an hour. And Song Cheol stepped away with his people. Minjun stood. He had already lost about 15% of volume to evaporation. Drought was working. Release the excess, return to normal size, save water. He shrank, released the water back into the ground, into the air. Became ordinary size. Looked at the drying puddles around. So high in the window of the second floor, watching. He raised a hand, gesture fine. She nodded. Song Cheol returned in 40 minutes. 3 conditions, he said. Speak. My people live in their own block. We do not mix with yours until we decide ourselves. Fine, I make decisions on perimeter defense. I do not consult every time. Fine. Pause. But if the situation concerns the whole group, we consult. Accepted. Third, Song Cheol looked straight. If at some point I decide to leave, my people leave freely. Always, said Minjun. Pause. You agreed too quickly, said Song Cheol. Because it is fair. Most leaders would not agree to the third point. Most leaders are afraid to lose people, said Minjun. I am afraid that people have no choice. Those are different fears. Song Cheol looked at him for a long time. Agreed, he said. 128 people. Song Cheol took the south wing of the expanded complex. His 20 steel ones established perimeter order in 2 days. Clear, methodical, with routes and observation points. Minjun looked at this and thought, this is what was missing. The first council of the expanded composition, all the commanders sat down. Minjun, Han, Yongjun, Hyerin, Sohai, Dogen, Song Cheol. 7 people, different bodies, different stories, different transformations. At the round table that Gichon had dragged from somewhere. Round deliberately? Minjun had asked for it. At a round table there is no head. We need water, Minjun began. Reserves for 3 months taking into account the current composition. The drought continues, the water pipe is unreliable. Pause. Options. The river, said Gonu. 5 kilometers to the east. I checked. It still flows. Is the route safe? Do not know, said Gonu honestly. Reconnaissance, said Song Cheol. 2 of mine. Tomorrow morning. Good, said Minjun. Filtration, said So high. If we bring river water, we need a purification system. A medical necessity. The Earth guy Kim Donu worked in municipal services before the transformation, said Han. He said that he understands filtration. Speak with him, said Minjun. Thus the council went. Not quickly, long, with objections, with clarifications. Song Cheol argued 3 times, Yongjun once. Dogen was mostly silent, but when he spoke, precise. After the council, Minjun remained alone in the hall. Looked at the round table. 7 different people with different bodies discussed water, routes, and filtration. Normal. Almost normal. Apocalypse and almost normal. The system, he had long noticed, gave abilities not for strength, for presence in key moments, for decisions, for seeing in people what they themselves did not notice. Knew quietly without announcement. Passive ability improved. Memory of water. Echo of water when immersed in a large volume of water. River, cistern, rain. You can hear the echo of recent events near this water. Not exact words. The intensity of events. If something significant happened near the water remembers the intensity. Echo of events. The river in 5 kilometers. What happened near it he will know when he reaches it. Useful for reconnaissance. Or frightening, depends on what the water remembers. Song Cheol's scouts returned by noon. The road is safe. The river flows. But near the river people, said the scout. A young steel guy moved quietly for his body. Many. Camp. Whose? Do not know. Mixed, transformed, and non-transformed. Several hundred. Pause. They look. Not like us. What does not like you mean? Hungry, said the scout. Exhausted. In some, the transformation is unstable. Visible how the body does not hold form. At one moment human, then half stone. Unstable transformation. In the first life Minjun had seen this, people who transformed into unstable states. Stuck in between. Not fully human, not fully something new. They had it worst of all, the body did not understand itself. Who leads the camp? We did not understand. Saw no one obvious. No one led, that is bad, said Song Cheol. That is several hundred people who need help, said Minjun. Song Cheol looked at him. We cannot take in several hundred. No, Minjun agreed. Take them in, no. Pause, but help is possible. Help how? First look. Song Cheol looked for a long time. You are going yourself. Yes, take 2 of mine. No need, it is not a proposal. Minjun looked at him. He is learning. 3 weeks ago, someone else's territory. Now take 2 of mine. This is no longer someone else's. Fine, said Minjun. 2. The road to the river, 5 kilometers through the quiet June city. Minjun walked in human form. 2 steel scouts beside him, silent. They were among those who speak little. Minjun valued that. On the approach he stopped. Transformed quietly, partially, legs into water ones, felt the earth. Dry. Very dry. But there, ahead, humidity higher. The river close. Hydro location weak without puddles, worked through the damp soil by the bank. Many people by the river, heavy bodies, stone, metal. Light ones, wooden, plant. Unstable ones he felt differently, intermittently, like a signal with interference. He returned his legs to human form. We go quietly. I speak first. The scouts nodded. The camp by the river he saw before he felt the smell. Several hundred people on the bank, some knee-deep in the water, some under makeshift canopies. Different bodies, different conditions. In some the transformation was visible painfully. A man at the water's edge, his right side stone, his left human. The boundary between them unclear, wavering, changing, while Minjun watched. The human side emaciated, pale. The stone side crumbled at the edges, unstable. The body had not decided what to be, and exhausts the resource on attempts. The woman nearby completely wooden, but the leaves on her are dry. Not from drought, from exhaustion. Wooden people took nourishment from soil and air like trees. Without sufficient moisture, they dried out literally. Minjun approached the bank. Several people noticed him, turned around. Who is in charge? He said quietly. No one answered at once. Then from the group by the water, an elderly woman. Non-transformed, small, with that look of people who organize not because they want to, but because there is no one else. I look after the children and the sick, she said. There is no one in charge. How many are you? About 340. Counted a week ago. From where? From everywhere, she said. They came from different directions. The river is a landmark. Water is needed. So they stayed here. Food? Bad. She looked at him directly. The unstable sick, for them food is not digested normally. We do not know how to feed them. Unstable transformation and nutrition, he did not know that from the first life. Heard about it in passing, did not see it up close. No medic. There was. Left a week ago, said he would find help. Did not return. Minjun looked at the camp. 340 people. Impossible to take them in. But so high. Unstable transformations are the medical territory of the New World. So Hai does not know this. No one knows. But she knows how to think. Earth Donu was building a filtration system. The river is here. It is possible to filter right here, not take everyone, but make it so that they can hold on by themselves. I can bring a medic, said Minjun, and help with organizing water filtration. Pause. In return, nothing. The woman looked at him. Nothing in return does not happen, she said. It happens rarely, Minjun agreed. But it happens. Why do you need this? Minjun thought for a second. Because memory of water, he said. She did not understand. He did not explain fully. Water remembers suffering, he said. I feel it. It is easier to help than to walk through this district and know that nearby there are 340 people who are in bad shape. The woman looked for a long time. Fine, she said. Bring the medic. Minjin walked to the river. Alone moved farther away from the people. Transformed, lowered his hand into the water. Echo of water he felt immediately. Not words. Intensity. Fear strong, several waves, different days. People were afraid by this river, many times. Fatigue constant, background. It had been here for a long time. But something else too. Unexpected. Relief. Several points bright, clear. People reached the river and felt relief. The water alive, flowing, cool in the drought, gave them something. Hope? Just water? Does not matter. They reached here and it got better for them. This place already means something to them. No need to move them. Need to make this place stable. He withdrew his hand. Looked at the river. An idea. The system was silent for now. But Minjin felt something building up. Like water pressure in a closed pipe before opening the tap. Soon. So, Hai came to the river the next day. With her Kim Donu, earth, with tools for filtration. And unexpectedly Inu volunteered himself. The wooden ones are drying out here, said Inu. I am wooden. Maybe I will understand what is happening to them. Correct logic. So Hai examined the unstable methodically without disgust, with that professional calm that calmed patients better than words. Wrote things down, asked questions. By evening she gathered Minjin by the bank. Unstable transformation, she said. I think I understand. Pause. They touched something at the moment when they were in a state of stress or in a transitional state. The transformation began but did not finish. The body resisted. What helps? Stabilization of the environment, said So Hai. Not medicines, the needed ones do not exist. Stable temperature, stable nutrition, minimal stress. The body itself completes the transformation if not disturbed. How much time? Different. Weeks, maybe a month. They cannot stay by the river for a month without organization. No, So Hai agreed. They cannot. They looked at the camp. We need to help them build what we have, said Minjun. Here, not move them, duplicate it. So Hai looked. A second place. Yes, you cannot be in two places. No. But Dogen can, said Minjun. He was a policeman. He knows how to build order where there is chaos. And for now he has no task that requires only him. So Hai thought. Dogen is stone. Slow, she said. Slow does not mean ineffective. A rock is slow. But around it they build. So Hai smiled. Rarely, quickly, almost imperceptibly. You speak in metaphors when you are tired, she said. Noticed. Long ago. Pause. You are tired. A little. You have not slept properly since the drought began. Hydrolocation. At night I watch the perimeter. Song Kaol watches the perimeter, said, So Hai. That is his condition, which you accepted. Let him do his work. Minjun looked at the river. It is hard to let go, he said. I know, said So Hai. But you are alone. Even if water. Especially if water, said Minjun. Water evaporates. It has to be replenished. So Hai looked at him for a long time, with that expression people have when they want to say something and are weighing it. Minjun, Minjun, she said. Yes, you remember the first life. He stopped, turned around, looked at her. How did you began, he? I do not know exactly, said So Hai, but sometimes you speak for the first time about things that you are seeing for the first time. Pause. And you knew what would happen before it happened? Pause. I did not ask before, and now I am asking. Minjun looked at the river. He had told no one. There had been no one to tell, or he had not found it necessary. So Hai is a nurse. She is used to holding what people say. I died at an ATM, he said, on a Friday evening. Tripped over another person, temple against the corner of the machine. Pause. Returned to my apartment, 8 months before the beginning. Pause. And touched water. So Hai was silent, for a long time. Deliberately, she said finally. Yes, because you remembered. Yes, you remember how it all ended. In that life, Minjun thought. In that life I died early, he said. Asphalt, almost at the beginning. Pause. I do not know how it ended. Only how it began and what happened in the first weeks. So Hai looked at him. So you also do not know what is ahead? No, but you keep going. Yes? Where? Forward. Han asked the same thing, and then Minjin said, I do not know exactly. To where the water goes, he said, water will always find where to flow. So Hai looked at him. Then quietly, almost to herself, then we are in the right place. The river flowed. The system in the silence of the evening bank finally opened the tap. Ability unlocked source with prolonged contact with a natural body of water. You can become part of it and temporarily strengthen the flow. The river becomes you. You become the river. In this state, the radius of hydrolocation, 1 kilometer. The radius of sea voice, 1 kilometer. The volume available for whip and needle unlimited, as long as the contact is not broken. System note: Big water knows no fear. It knows only